Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Princess Atkins. I just got back from WonderCon and I wanted to talk to you about my brand new Ghost Spider Gwen cosplay. So WonderCon was amazing. I had a great time. I don't know why I was so nervous to wear this costume, but it ended up being such a fantastic time. I wanted to talk to you about the suit and give you a review of the suit now that I wore it 2 days in a row at a con. I know I'm not the most knowledgeable person about the Spidey suit, but I can give you my takeaways of it. Number one, I remember when I opened up the package in the last video and I was like, oh my God, everything smells like paint and glue. Well, I left the costume hanging on a hanger and I just left the mask out overnight, and overnight it outgassed. It doesn't smell like glue. It doesn't smell like paint anymore. And at the con, I was actually really worried about wearing the mask because I thought it was going to make me feel claustrophobic. But in actuality, it did exactly the opposite. There was a time on Sunday where I just got a little bit overwhelmed with how many people were in the convention center, how many people were outside taking pictures. It was at the end of the day. I threw this on in a corner to take some pictures and then walked around with it on. And it made me feel like I had this little like safe space bubble around me that like no one could enter. So it strangely was the opposite than what I expected. Anyway, so let's start with the mask. I had my suit designed by Arachnid Design Studios, and then I had it printed, sewn, and the shoes put in by the RPC Studio. So the mask that I got, the fabric just goes right over it, and it's actually sewn with a seam here, which I was very impressed by. The face shield was very comfortable. To put it on the best, you just need to put it straight on your face. I have a habit of trying to put it on like an Iron Man mask or something, but the best way to get it on is just put it straight on and then zip the back. I did end up wearing 2 wig caps with this. One, the way that I showed you how I put it on with the hole in the back, and a second full wig cap that just went right on top of it so the hair didn't come out. And that really helped me not get my hair stuck in the costume. What was really cool about this face shield was these things just magnet in. So I could look at my reflection anywhere, like on a glass or in a mirror, and get those on in the right spot. Excuse me. These are not the foggable lenses. They don't fog. I don't know how to put that. These lenses do not fog. And so it's actually plastic with holes drilled in it, so it let air in, which I really liked. I also liked, I don't know if you can see, but there are holes in this face shield. It also didn't get too hot and steamy because those holes allowed for me to breathe. So I worked with Arachnid Design Studios to create the design, and I, like I said, worked with the RPC Studio to print it and put the shoes in and sew it together. Communication from both companies was fantastic. When it came to working with Brandon at the Arachnid Design Studios, it took a couple days for us to email back and forth and really for him to understand exactly what I wanted, but he was always on top of it, which I really appreciated. I had a lot of questions, a lot of things I want to make sure was happening. So I really appreciated the good communication on his part. When it comes to the RPC Studio, I was messaging the RPC on Facebook and then directly through our website. And again, every question that I had was answered in an extremely timely fashion, which I was very happy about. I was ordering the suit a little bit last minute, especially from RPC. So I wanted to make sure I had it by a certain date. And they said if I ordered by a certain date and picked a specific shipping, then I would get it by the date that I needed. And everything was perfect. I ordered it the date they said, I picked the shipping that they had specified, and I even got it a day early. So, and you saw the video on the day I got it. When it comes to the quality, the design quality is just fantastic. I couldn't have asked for better. There were a couple things that I wanted very specifically, and Brandon at Arachnid Design Studios was able to do that for me. So thank you so much, Brandon. And then when it comes to the quality of what the RPC Studio sent me, I was very happy with. The spandex is a very nice, I wouldn't say thick spandex, but it's a spandex lycra that isn't extremely flimsy, which I was worried about, especially having a womanly figure and curves. I didn't want it to hug every crease of my body. And the fabric that they made my outfit from, it was a very sturdy, durable, I think were two good words to describe it, fabric. The quality of how the outfit was printed is just absolutely beautiful. You guys are able to see pictures, more pictures on my Instagram and my Facebook. And the colors just really popped, especially those pinks and the turquoises. They were beautiful. There's a cute little belly button in this design, and he has shading to make sure that you have some cleavage. So lots of beautiful quality. The stitching was really nice. I couldn't have asked for better. I really kind of looked inside at all the different areas that were stitched, and I was very pleased with it. I was also very pleased with the way that the zippers were sewn in. Very easily accessible, very easily for me to zip myself. I picked the design where you zip straight down the back. I'm very flexible in that way, so I wasn't worried about being able to zip myself up. The way that the shoes were glued in, now I'm going to show you this, but please don't think this is the way the RPC, did it, because I glued these blue soles on top, so you can see my glue here. The only thing that came a little bit differently than I expected was the spandex was stretched over the shoe, so the spandex changed color just a little bit because it's black printed on white, so the black got a little bit of a more gray look. They do warn you about that on the website, so I was already expecting it. So it wasn't anything that I was worried about. I don't think it detracts from the look of the costume. When it comes to fit, it fit mostly well, and I can't say it was either of the company's faults that I worked with, that my fit wasn't exactly what I wanted or was expecting, because I did the measurements myself. In retrospect, I probably would have put myself as a little bit taller, because I have extremely long legs and a long torso, and so the costume just felt like it was a little bit short, especially since they glued the shoes in. And since I hadn't ordered a costume like this before, and I wasn't familiar with the way that costumes like this fit, that was the one thing that I wish I would have known previous to, was that for my personal body type, I wish I would have said I was just like a ½ inch taller. Other than that, the fit was really nice. All the seams were really flat. The design, for instance, here in the armpit, you'll see the design really matched up beautifully. Not only was it designed to match up from the Arachnid Design Studios, but RPC did a really good job of making sure those pieces went together and looked the way that they were supposed to. So I was very happy with that. When it comes to wear and tear, so I wore it for 2 full days at the convention, from the moment the convention opened till almost the moment that the convention closed. On Sunday, we kind of left a little bit early to go do a Star Wars thing. And so I would have to say I'm very pleased with the wear and tear, the way that they glued the shoes in. They stayed glued in. Of course, I glued other soles on top of them. I did have a couple wear and tears. I don't know if that's what you want to call it. Nothing major, just little minor things that are going to be really easy to fix. And I think this just happens when you're wearing a costume and seams stretch a little bit more than they're supposed to, especially when the costume is spandex or lycra. So here on the finger, I have a little tiny hole, and that's probably from pulling my finger like this so I could get my hands out of the glove. So in retrospect, I probably would grab all the fingers at the same time so one finger doesn't have more pressure put on it than the other. So I think that's going to be really easy to fix. One of my other wear and tear items is back here in the back. So you'll see that that V line is another place where they have the option to put in a zipper. And that you can see right where the design ended is where they sewed the two pieces together for where the design starts on this piece. And I think this has a lot to do with the fact that I feel like I was a little too tall for the costume. I feel like the seam opened up a little bit. So now you can see that little white or gray line in there. It almost looks like there's a couple loose threads. So I'm gonna have to go through and just restitch that and make sure it's good. Over here on the corner on one of my hips, you can kind of see a little white spot right there where it's not supposed to be. I think it was the exact same thing. I'm just a little bit too tall. And then there was just a little bit of wear and tear next to my zipper, all the way down at the bottom. There's a little hole next to where the zipper is attached. So I'm gonna have to repair that. So I would say overall, those are not very bad wear and tear items. I'm very pleased with it. I think if I had to do over again, the things that I would change are, now that I've worn the outfit, I don't know why I want to say uniform. I don't know. Now that I've worn the costume, I probably would have asked for the design to be tweaked a little bit just so it fit my personal body shape better. The placement for the pieces that were supposed to be on my shins, I probably would have asked for them to be a little bit higher because they ended up a little bit low with the shoes glued in. I did really like the shoes that they glue in. They were very comfortable and they fit the soles that I had chose to put over them very nicely. Something else that I would have changed for myself is I would have, I measured myself multiple times, but I probably would have had someone else measure me because I was under a time crunch and had to get it ordered by a certain time and a certain date. I just did it myself. So I probably would have asked for help in making sure my measurements were exactly the way that they should be. I would have told them I was probably 1/2 inch taller just to make sure that the costume was able to stretch properly. And I think that I would make the eye holes in the mask just a tiny bit larger because they were a little bit hard to see through, but that is just, I think, a personal preference. And this is something that's very easy for me to fix personally. Would any of my fixes or changes deter me from buying this costume from either of these companies again? I would 100% use both the Arachnid Design Studios and the RPC Studios again. I am so pleased with the work that both companies did to help me get this costume on time and to look the way that it looks. The couple little things that I mentioned are just little things that I think either I can change or I can fix, or I just wish I would have known ahead of time. But I think both companies did everything that they could have done to make sure I had an excellent product. And so I'm 100% pleased. If you guys have any questions about my experience with my costume, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. If you know anyone that is looking to get a Spidey costume and has questions, go ahead and send them to my channel and I'll do my best to answer their questions. I have been researching how to wash your Spidey costume, so stay tuned for a video about that. And I hope you all have a great week. Natalie out.